Hey guys, so we're here today with a special guest, PorygonP, who's high rated on Dueling Book with Branded Bestials. So yeah, you're usually high ranked on DB in general, but maybe I'll just get you to introduce yourself and maybe why you're playing this deck for the format.
Yeah, so I'm PorygonP. I play for the Lancaster University Yu-Gi-Oh! Society, and I've been playing Branded Bestial because, for a few reasons. The main reason is I hate mirror matches. And I like playing mid-range decks. So the obvious choice would be to play Spright, but I can't stand mirror matches, and Sprite's reasonably popular. So the second best deck I think as a mid-range choice would be this deck, Branded Bestial. Um, I've kind of taken out all of the crazy combo cards and just playing like a solid activate Branded Fusion every turn deck that eventually snowballs advantage and wins the game.
Right, and Bestial is pretty good against tiers. So yeah, I guess maybe we'll just go through the deck list. So we have the 3 Magnemet, 3 Druid's Room, the 2 Sirnir, and the 1 Lubellion. Bestial package-wise, are these ratios something you're happy with? I know the 1 Lubellion, I don't know if that's standard, usually maybe 2, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's the Lubellion one's interesting because it's so bad going second, but going first it's really really good. Um, but I think because it's so accessible with Brand Fusion and with Serenade that you're fine to just play the one copy. Um, yeah, I didn't think that it was. I just hate drawing it going second. It's so bad.
Yeah, no, my friend said the same actually. And then some other stuff, I guess, Thespian Tragedy, and then the Aluber, Jester, 3 of that. Of course, 2 Fallen of Albaz. I think that's pretty standard. You do also play the Shrouded Dragon, the Kit, and the Mercurier. How do you like those?
Yeah, I think this is the correct ratio to play. Um, Albion and Albaz, two Albaz is very standard. Kit's a bit unusual.
Hmm.
Um, that's a recent addition for me as well. I was watching a Kali Effect video the other day, and he was playing no opening and was playing all kits. And I don't think that's correct. But his reasoning for kit was like, um, it's an extender, which is good. It's searchable. It's it's a little bit better against imperm because if it gets impermed, you don't take the neg one. Where if you opening, you discard, and then the Alibi gets impermed, you go neg one in that exchange there. And yeah, it's an extender. It can get back retribution after you've banished it, which is good. And yeah, and it makes Mercury a little bit better as well. That's the other maybe not card that's not super standard. But I like it mostly because of evenly matched going in game 2 and 3, where being able to have the Mercury in your hand as a disruption helps you play around evenly matched a bit better. That's mostly why it's in the deck.
Right, right. No, the negate's always nice. And of course, the double edge imp chain. And then now the spells with the 3 branded fusion, the double branded opening, 3 allures, the 1 gold sark, 2 patchwork, 2 poly, as well as the 1 branded lost and 1 regain. So I would suppose maybe allure, is that something that's typically all played in the branded list still?
Yeah, that's maybe one of the least common cards because back when the deck was like the whole all gas version, obviously it was crazy because you banish tragedy and you go plus infinite. That doesn't happen as much anymore, but I think that as a consistency card, it's really close in terms of how powerful it is to prosperity. But I like Allura a little bit better just because it has a higher ceiling than prosperity does. But both of them are perfectly good, reasonable. It's hard to say which one's better.
Right. And the gold sark as well, is that pretty standard?
As like the 10th copy of Brand Fusion, it's fine. It's a little bit better than Foolish Burial because you can banish Mercuria with Sarcophagus. But yeah, it's just the 10th Brand Fusion. It's nothing too special.
Right. Awesome. And then lastly on the traps, the branded beast, banishment, as well as retribution, the 3 imperms and the 1 veiler. Anything about that? I guess just 4 hand traps. Well, actually, that's not true. Including the bestials, that's a lot of hand traps. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So the traps are pretty standard. I think the only card to point out is Effect Veiler. That's my second light monster because I think
Mm.
like Cartesia and Amazing Ecclesia are like they're really good in like a late game where you're just recurring your resources, but as when you're in your opening hand, they aren't very good. The only light monster that in the game that I actually want to draw that's not Lubellion is Effect Veiler, so that was my second light monster.
Okay, so on to the extra deck then. We have the 2 Albion Dragon, the 1 Lubellion, the 2 Mirror Jade, 1 Ash Dragon, the Alba Lenatus, Quartus, Masquerade, Dregastapelia, Starving Venom, Guardian Chimera, the Mud Dragon, as well as the Dark and the Wallow. So I guess Would you say the extra deck ratio is pretty standard? I know some play 2 Masquerade, for example.
Yeah, the Masquerade, I'm just playing the one because I never go for double Masquerade,
Hmm.
just because I think that end board is weak to Bystials. Your opponent just summons a Bystial and attacks over your board. So it's more just a utility card for when you weaken your opponent, and then you can summon a Masquerade to completely lock them out of the game. The one Lubellion is pretty standard now. I think people, Imperm's not super popular, so you don't have to really worry about the Imperm on your Lubellion. And then the other card that's of interest, I think, is the Mud Dragon, because I'm not playing Super Poly. But it comes up in hands to play around Imperm and Veiler and things like that, where you poly into it, you call Dark, and then you can normal summon Aluber to make you immune to the Imperm. But it's kind of a flex spot. It could be a lot of other cards. It could be a time card if you wanted to play that as well. And then I think Dark and a rank 6 is pretty common now as well. And yeah, I think Wallow is just the best. It has the most overall utility of the Reg 6s.
Definitely really, really strong. Okay. And also, actually, just I might just be dumb, but Starving Venom, if you're not playing Super Poly, how does this come up?
So you can summon it off of Banishment. It's mostly against Spright. You use Blue and Jet to make this. And it also helps you out Towers monsters like the Agnister, because it gains attack, it doesn't target or anything, so you can just use the attack on the Agnister to make it go up a bit of the Agnister and then attack over it. That's all it's for.
Awesome.
Banishment and attacking over Agnister.
Right, no, so that's definitely comes up. And I guess lastly onto the side, we do have the double Lava Golem, the 2 Veilers to complete the playset. You're playing the Zombie World package with Necro World Banshee and 2 Zombie Worlds, 3 Lightning Storms, 1 Feather Duster, just the 1 Dark Ruler, 2 different Dimension Ground, and the 1 Pointer. I guess for the side, yeah, feel free to speak. I guess the 1 Dark Ruler certainly stands out.
Yeah, I mean the weird ratios, the remote duel ratios are just for side deck patterns. So like Lava Golem I think is really good, but but against Tyr, for example, I need 4 cards to side, and I need 2 of those cards to also be good against Flunder. So that's what the Effect Veilers are for. It has the coverage, and then obviously Lava Golem is better than Effect Veiler. So yeah, that's mostly what the ratio is for. The 1 Dark Ruler again is just side deck patterns. So like I wanted 1 more card that was good against Spright and Flunder, and the best card for that is Dark Ruler. So yeah, it's just side deck patterns is the weird ratios. And then the traps, the going first cards. A Pointer is like the best going first card in the game, I think. This card's really, really, really powerful. And then I had different Dimension Ground, because this deck is really weak to board breakers like Evenly and Lightning Storm. And at one point I was playing Solemn Judgment for that. The problem with Solemn Judgment is, as a disruption, it's not very powerful. Your opponent can play through a Solemn Judgment like perfectly fine. But different Dimension Ground, your opponent goes activate Lightning Storm, you chain different Dimension Ground, and your opponent just has to pass their turn. So it's a lot better than Solemn Judgment was.
Right. And I don't think it's common, but I do think I've seen some branded lists where they like side shifter. Is that ever a consideration, or it just doesn't play around?
When I first picked up the deck, I was playing Shifter. The problem with Shifter as a going second card is against Tyr is you shifter them, and then they go summon Keldor or Mordora, summon Sharon or Rhinoheart, overlay for Baguska, and then the deck's main out to Baguska is Duraswarm, but you can't use Duraswarm's effect under Shifter. So your opponent goes summon Baguska, pass, you have to pass, and then they kill you. So the Shifter wasn't really good enough.
Awesome. So yeah, any other things you want to mention about your deck list?
I think the big takeaway for this deck that I think a lot of people disagree with is I'm not playing like there's this the Branded Despia archetypes have so many good utility cards that you could play in your deck, but I kind of garnets to draw them. So I removed as many of those as I could, because I just wanted to every turn just activate Branded Fusion every single turn until I win the game, and with the Bystials to help maintain advantage and disrupt my opponent. So I just took out as many of the garnets as I could, and yeah, just have this solid activate Branded Fusion every single turn until your opponent loses.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for the deck profile. Any shoutouts that you want to mention before we end the call?
Yes, I have shoutouts for the Geekster Gaming Discord. I love those guys. Shout outs to my teammates at the Lancaster University Yu-Gi-Oh Society, helping me test. And shout outs to I'll shout out Pack as well. This deck was kind of templated around his deck list. He posted about a month ago, and I made some changes. I think positive changes, but yeah, they're like the same. He has like the same idea of just activate Branded Fusion, and so yeah, shout outs to him for that model of the deck.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, and take care, everyone.